Hey everyone, welcome back. You know how we do things here? We like to take a deep dive into the nitty-gritty. And today, well, we're looking at Bitcoin.
Specifically Bitcoin price predictions.
Right. And, there's a ton of noise out there, a lot of opinions, but we're focusing on some recent analysis by Master Kenobi. He's a crypto analyst, pretty well known in the space, and he's got some interesting observations about Bitcoin's price chart.
Yeah, I've been following his work for a while now.
What really caught my eye was this thing he calls the 88-day structure. It's this pattern, right, that he spotted, and it's like weirdly similar to what we saw on the chart just before Bitcoin's big rally back in 2023.
This is the stuff that gets me excited. This is where the technical analysis gets really interesting, right?
Totally. So
Uh-huh.
let's break this down for our listeners because not everyone's a chart whiz like yourself. What exactly is this 88-day structure and why should we care?
Okay, so imagine you're looking at Bitcoin's price chart. You've got the price going up and down, but Kenobi is looking beyond just those basic movements. He's factoring in what's called the Relative Strength Index, or RSI.
Now, I've heard of RSI, but to be honest, I'm a little fuzzy on the details. Remind me, what is that again?
It's basically like a momentum gauge. If the RSI is high, it generally means buyers are in control, kind of pushing the price up. If it's low, well, that usually means sellers are calling the shots and the price is more likely to drop.
Got it. So it's not just about the price itself, but also the momentum behind it.
Exactly. And what Kenobi has noticed is that the current combination of price action and RSI, the way they're moving together over this 88-day period, is mirroring what we saw right before Bitcoin went on that massive run in 2023.
So, okay, I'm starting to see why this is interesting. We've seen this pattern before, and last time it meant big gains for Bitcoin. Does that mean Kenobi is predicting another surge?
He's definitely suggesting there's a strong possibility. But it's not just the 88-day structure he's looking at. There's another pattern, a 51-day structure, which also has historical significance.
Okay, so two patterns, both pointing towards a potential bull run. What's Kenobi's actual prediction? Give us the numbers.
He believes Bitcoin could reach $124,300 by January 31st, 2025.
Whoa. That's a serious jump from where we are now, like, what, an 18% increase? But, I got to be honest, part of me is thinking, hold on a second, how can we be sure this is going to play out the same way? I mean, couldn't other things affect Bitcoin's price?
You're asking all the right questions. It's super important to remember this technical analysis. Even when it's based on patterns that have played out before, it's not a foolproof way to predict the future. There are always things we can't anticipate, right?
Like what? Give me some examples.
Oh, all sorts of things, like sudden shifts in market sentiment, maybe some new regulations that nobody saw coming, or even just, some major world event that shakes things up.
Right, the whole black swan thing, so we can't just blindly assume history will repeat itself.
Exactly. A healthy dose of skepticism is always a good thing when it comes to price predictions.
This all reminds me of how well Bitcoin did in 2023. That was a huge year for it, wasn't it?
It absolutely was. We saw a historic surge in Bitcoin's price, driven by a few key factors. Institutional adoption was a big one.
Right, big companies, investment firms, starting to get on board.
Yeah, it really felt like Bitcoin was finally gaining mainstream acceptance. There was also this overall feeling of optimism in the market. People were excited about crypto, and that excitement was definitely fueling Bitcoin's rise.
That all makes sense, but is there anything specific about how those factors played out that might help us understand these price movements Kenobi is focusing on? Because it can't just be a coincidence, right?
Great question. It's not just about the factors themselves, but the timing of everything. Kenobi's analysis looks at how those events unfolded in relation to these key patterns he's identified.
Interesting. So it's not just that institutions were adopting Bitcoin, but it's how that adoption lined up with those technical indicators, like the 88-day structure and the RSI
So
movement.
it's like putting all the pieces of the puzzle together.
All right, this has been really insightful, but before we wrap things up, I want to make sure our listeners understand this is just one analyst's interpretation. I'm sure there are other experts out there with different opinions.
Absolutely. The crypto world is full of different perspectives, and that's actually a good thing. It keeps things dynamic.
Exactly. So, to our listeners, do your own research, check out what other analysts are saying, and form your own conclusions. Don't just take our word for it, or Master Kenobi's for that matter.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so to recap, we dove deep into Master Kenobi's analysis of Bitcoin's price patterns, and he's making a pretty bold prediction about a potential price surge. But, as we discussed, it's crucial to approach these predictions with a healthy dose of skepticism and to consider multiple viewpoints before making any decisions.
And maybe Just maybe. The most interesting question of all is what if there are factors we haven't even thought of yet that could completely change the game for Bitcoin?
That's a great point. The crypto space is constantly evolving, so who knows what the future holds?
Yeah.
It's definitely an exciting time to be following this.
It really is.
All right. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back with more fascinating insights into the crypto world soon.
Until then, keep exploring.